Hey everybody, this is Carl from Carl's Opinion. How you doing? And we're here for our Friday night live call-in show and video call-in show. If you want to appear by video call-in, kind of like a panel, except it's just kind of like me and you, just two people, and you can appear that way, and it's pretty cool. And or like it's like say two people want to appear, like one person's on and because we can go side by side, we can do all kinds of things. We can go anywhere from one person on to two people on to three people on at the same time. So if you want to appear by video call, just shoot me an email. Just the email address is scrolling down below you, ca2jogger@gmail.com. And or if you want to call, the call-in number is down there, 775-273-8970, and you can appear that way. So I will appear by phone call or video phone call. That'll work, and not a problem. So we got some good stories to get to tonight, and let's take a look at some of them. Let's see if we get to it right here. Let's see. Uh-huh. All right. Okay. Let's see. Boop. All right. So let's start with this one here. And what we see here, obsessed liberal analysts trumpet impeachment 309 times. Oh, isn't that just great? In 18 hours. Media study reports. So let's take a look at this one. Oh, geez. Some liberal analysts can't let go of impeachment as an endless but unjustified narrative about President Trump. Although the Mueller report did not recommend any charges against the president, liberal journalists on cable and broadcast news networks spent Thursday suggesting to audiences that impeachment was imminent, if not inevitable, wrote Bill Agostino, an analyst for newsbusters.org, a conservative press watchdog. Throughout Thursday afternoon and Friday morning, liberal talking heads on cable and broadcast news networks mentioned impeachment an astonishing 309 times during their coverage of the newly released Mueller report, he said in the study. Mr. D'Agostino and his team monitored 18 hours of coverage of CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, CBS. They took note of the impeachment usage by network analysts, hosts, and contributors only, but not politicians or outside commentators. Two networks, I wonder which ones, were more active than others. The vast majority of occurrences, 286 mentions, impeachment mentions, came from CNN, which used the word 148 times, and MSNBC close behind with 138 mentions. That's insane. Okay, let's continue on here. CNN anchor Wolf Blitzer and MSNBC host Lawrence O'Donnell, the analyst found, each used the word 34 times in the space of 2 hours. The study found that roadmap to impeachment was also a favorite phrase. For their part, congressional Democrats did not appear keen on discussing impeachment, Mr. D'Agostino said, yet journalists were not discouraged by the Democrats' reticence to discuss removing the president from office. Given the media's obsession with impeachment, even after Mueller found no collusion, declined to prosecute on obstruction, one has to wonder whether they're even reading the same report as the rest of us. And that brings up a good point. I mean, that kind of says it all right there. I mean, they're not. I mean, they're living inside their bubble. I mean, that report could have said anything. I mean, it could have even said, I'm not going to prosecute on obstruction, and they would have found some way to spin that. So, well, actually, he said, I'm not going to prosecute on obstruction, but it even could have said, pure and simple. We looked, no obstruction, not even possible. I'm going to make the call, and they would have found a way to spin it. And that's where we're at right now, unfortunately. So, it's a real shame that they can't get over themselves, especially when you look at the other story that I was going to cover here. All right. Here we go. This is from the Wall Street Journal. The prior report was from the Washington Times. But anyway, Wall Street Journal. Mueller report dismisses many Steele dossier claims. So the famous Steele dossier, which started this whole thing rolling, again, which the FBI and DOJ knew. They knew from Bruce Orr's mouth himself. Bruce Orr, when he met with McCabe in July of 2016, he said, hey, man, I have to give you this because somebody gave it to me, but I'm going to tell you who gave it to me. My wife wrote this. Okay, and she works for Fusion GPS, and they were hired by the Clinton campaign through their lawyers in the DNC to find some op research. And as you know, op research isn't necessarily true. It's just kind of an inference of an inference of an inference. You were in a place, something happened, and they say you were there doing it. It's just enough to kind of screw up the election. Kind of what the Republicans did really really well to John Kerry in 2004 with the whole Swift Boat campaign. And if you remember correctly, John Kerry was taking campaign matching funds from the feds, and his allotment wasn't due to come in for another month. So he couldn't run any big media ads, countering the story. So the story just sat out there for a full month. Big media blitz, and, he was behind the eight ball. I mean, look, I'm not upset that, John Kerry lost, but still, that's a great example of op research. You take something that happened, he fired a self-propelled grenade at the enemy. It hit a tree too close to him. I know we got some veterans in here. It went off, and so he caught some of the shrapnel. And what they tried to say was that it was like a self-inflicted wound, like he took his rifle and shot himself in the foot, but that wasn't true. He didn't do that. Was he careless? Was he? I mean, I've never been in battle before. I don't know. The adrenaline's going. Somebody's trying to kill you. I don't know. I don't know if I would do something like that. But still, the whole point is that's op research. It not necessarily has to be true. Just take an inference of an inference. So Bruce Orr, when he met with McCabe in the summer, which McCabe left out of his book that he wrote, and he went on 60 Minutes with, and the whole MSNBC and CNN. He left that meeting out of his book. And I believe Lisa Page was there, as well as Bruce Orr and Andy McCabe. And Bruce Orr's like, hey, I'm passing this along, but do me a favor, vet it. Check this thing out, because this is totally unverified. It's op research. And the guy who gave it to me, this guy Steele, he really hates Trump. I mean, he got it in for the guy. And he tells McCabe all this. See, we always thought Bruce Orr was like the totally, totally bad guy. Yeah, he's kind of, but not really super bad. I mean, he didn't want to get disbarred, so he disclosed, hey, my wife works for this company that wrote this thing, and, my wife doesn't like Trump either, so just let everybody know. So anyway, so here's a nice story from the Wall Street Journal. Mueller report dismisses many Steele dossier claims. And let's get to that. Okay. Robert Mueller's report, while providing new details on Russian tampering in U.S. elections, has all but dismissed many key claims of the dossier compiled by private investigator Christopher Steele, fueling Republicans' call to investigate the origins of special counsel's probe. The dossier, which was funded by Trump's political opponents during the 2016 presidential race, alleged that Russia had been cultivating Trump for years with financial enticements and leverage over the president in the form of sex tapes. After nearly 2 years, hundreds of interviews, dozens of indictments, Mueller appears to have called into question those assertions, finding no evidence Russia possessed a tape of Mr. Trump watching prostitutes perform lewd acts in a Moscow hotel. It didn't show that Russian authorities had been cultivating Mr. Trump for at least 5 years. As part of an operation directed by Russian President Vladimir Putin, it also appears to have debunked the report's claim that Michael Cohen, Mr. Trump's former personal attorney, clandestinely met with the Kremlin officials in Prague to coordinate hacking with Russian officials. Some portions of the dossier have been validated. U.S. intelligence agents concluded more than 2 years ago that Russia had sought to help Mr. Trump win the White House and denigrate the Democratic rival Hillary Clinton, as the dossier asserts. But you got to also remember that that dossier was given to Steele by some Russians. I mean, some guy said, hey, we heard about, Trump and the hookers and peeing on the bed. Well, I mean, nothing goes out of Russia without Vladimir Putin's blessing. So I'm not so sure like they were in the tank. They wanted Hillary Clinton to, they wanted Trump to win the White House. I mean, that information went out about Trump. I mean, I'm sorry, having some prostitutes, piss on him and piss on a bed that President Obama formerly slept in, that's worse than the I grabbed the vagina line. That might have caused a lot of problems. So I'm really not sure. I think Putin was really just kind of try to screw up with both campaigns. No matter who won, they would both be kind of behind the eight ball. He would have, people would be in doubt about the election, and there might even be a special counsel, appointed and to investigate, the kind of thing that actually just happened. And of course, we fall right into the trap, and we sow discord for 2 years, and people are yelling and screaming at each other. We got a special counsel. We got 40 FBI agents looking under every rock. Let's see who was on Tucker today. Let me see. Mike Caputo, remember him? He was a consul for on the Trump campaign in 2016, and he had been approached by this guy named Greenberg, and he said you got approached like I wanted to sell him some like Russian hacked Clinton emails. Well, Caputo Tucker asked him, "What did you think of the Mueller report?" And his words were mischievous, mischievous. And Tucker was kind of shocked, but because I don't think Tucker was expecting that to come out. And sure enough, he goes, "Why?" He goes, "Well, I'm mentioned on page 61 of this report, and they mentioned me as like, this guy Greenberg coming up to me trying to sell me, Russian hacked Hillary Clinton emails. But they failed to mention that this guy was actually on the payroll of the FBI as an FBI informer for 17 years. They kind of left that they left that part out. He goes, "I knew about it. They knew about it. I hired a private investigator to look this guy up. Sure enough, he had like something like 7 FBI informant visas, and his private investigator and attorneys were able to get that information where they had something like 5 or 6 affidavits signed by FBI agents, his handlers, saying, hey, this guy needs to stay here because he's helping us out." So basically what you had, and this is now in like March of 2016. This is way before July. So what they were doing was doing a counter intel operation on the Trump campaign. They were trying to not just entrapment, but they're trying to plant assets and sources, spying. That's what it's called. Into the Trump campaign to try to entrap them into taking the bait. And then they say, "Oh, look, these guys are in possession of stolen property," and that's a crime. It's a federal crime, and that could have sunk the whole Trump campaign right there. Luckily, you guys like Caputo, Mike Caputo, and Corsi and Jerome Corsi, and also even Papadopoulos, they weren't willing to take the bait on this stuff. They were like, "No, man, get away from me. I don't want to buy any Russian hacked emails. Leave us alone." And that there were actually 2 separate assets. There was this guy Greenberg, and there was also that professor that is kind of missing in action now. The one who talked to Papadopoulos. That was a guy from Malta. This is a professor out there. He had actually, the one who talked to Papadopoulos to try to sell him some stuff. And Papadopoulos was like, "Hey man, I'm a consultant. I got hired as a consultant on foreign policy in the Middle East. That was his specialty, the Middle East." And he's like, "Leave me alone." So remember, Papadopoulos didn't get convicted of any kind of conspiracy with the Russians or possession of stolen emails, or he got convicted of lying to the FBI. He kind of forgot about his story. He wasn't sure. They caught him in a trap, a perjury trap. And he had to plead guilty. But again, the judge was like, he could have got, I think a year or 2 for that. The judge gave him 2 weeks. Even the judge realized, this poor guy, he just got caught up in this whole mess. So it's pretty bad. But yeah, the call-in number is area code 775-273-8970. And again, if you want to appear by video call, just put in the chat that you send me an email. Let me just check my emails. See, everybody send me one. Let's see. No emails. But, yeah, if you want to appear by video call, we can get you in right away. Not a problem. But you take this story and you combine it with the prior story about how the media is just going gung ho crazy. You can see why. You can see why Trump. It's another thing I kind of put in the ticker too. It's like, they say Trump was trying to obstruct the investigation. He wasn't trying to obstruct the investigation into whether Russia meddled in the election. He could care less. What does he care? Find out what you know. President Obama said there was no meddling before he left office, but he was actually saying somebody's meddling. Remember during 2016, Trump was bitching about, we got a phone call coming in. Please stand by. Hey, Miss Texas, how you doing?
Hey there, I'm doing well. I just have one comment. Hello to you, hello to mods and friends, patrons, everyone in the chat. I was really concerned when I saw that there was a comment made by President Trump that said, "I'm effed," after the Mueller investigation started. Well, I'm effed. Well, guess what? That wasn't the full quote. I saw it on Twitter today. There was a whole lot of, they just kind of redacted the rest of it. He was basically saying, "Look, I'm trying to do all I can for this country, and now with this, I'm effed." It's not allowing me to protect and go through and do everything I said I was going to do for the country and the promises I kept. So again, the leftist media, they took that out of context too. So if anyone thought that comment was just I'm asked that he said, it was wrong. It was a whole big comment. It was just, they just took out that little sound bite.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
because
didn't
yeah, I
know that
mean, when he
though.
said,
I was
yeah, when he
like,
said it,
wow.
when he said I'm at, when he said, well, he said I'm fucked. He goes, I'm fucked. He meant
Yeah,
he knew for the next year. I'm sure he didn't realize it was 2 years, but he knew for like the next year he was going to have to constantly be fighting this. I mean, he remembers what
right.
Clinton had to go through.
But that's all that came out, Carl. That was the
Yeah,
only thing was I'm effed. And that's what everyone thought. Okay, yeah, he's guilty. He's got something to hide. And even I, who've been a follower and a supporter, thought, oh no, President Trump, I hope you didn't say that. But again, this all lies. Lies on top of lies and deception. And it's deeper than an agenda, Carl. I mean, this is like, I do feel it's spiritual. It has to be, because you don't just come up with these types of, I mean, this goes way back. But again, I mean, there's rules and levels to this. But I even looked at the Saul Alinsky rules, which I know that's kind of lameish, but it is what it is. And that was like Stalin-esque or Lenin-esque, the rules for radicals. That's where Alinsky drew drew those from. The welfare state, giving them housing, welfare, the schools, breaking up the family, all these things. I mean, it's kind of like just the recipe for bringing down a society.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know. Sorry, I'm a little upset.
No, you should be.
Anyway.
No, you should be.
Yeah.
No, because I mean, no. When I read that too.
For.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's funny because like for the last couple of years, you'd see like a headline and you'd want to get, because you care about the guy, and you get suckered into thinking, oh my God, is that true? And then like sure enough, you find out literally 2 days later it was total bullshit. And you're like, ah. And I mean, literally, I went through
a year later, because you're still holding on to what was stated. But you're right. But actually, you're right. In this case, it was just a few days.
Yeah, it only took a few days to debunk it. Yeah, it took a few days to debunk it and then to go away.
Right. Well, and I wanted to tell you too, and everyone, that Nadler, I think I sent it to you, Carl, about in 1998, he was explaining why you shouldn't send unredacted. You shouldn't put that out because of the. For people,
yeah, he said that. He said that during the '90s, during the Clinton impeachment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he just flip flopped and said something else. In 2019. So again, everything that they've been lying about, the reason the left and that ideology is crashing is because it's based on nothing real. There are no boundaries. There are no borders. There has to be right. There needs to be right and wrong. And when there doesn't exist that, it's all going to come crashing sooner or later, because you need something that says, okay, this is good, this is bad. And there's nothing over there that states that.
Right.
It's failed ideology.
No, it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is, I don't know. I guess their history lessons in college in the 2000s stopped at like 1990. Okay, because you just got to go back to right before the Cold War ended. 1989. Okay. And just look how Europe was. Look how the Europeans were being treated. In Hungary, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Romania, those places, Bulgaria. I mean, it was terrible. And how they were being treated in, Ukraine, what is now Ukraine, but the former Soviet part of the former Soviet Union. The people were treated like crap. They hated the system of government. They hated socialism, hated communism. They were being just suffocated. And it's like, all you got to do is, you don't have to go very far. I mean, there's plenty of these people who emigrated over here. You can go to New York City, you go to Brooklyn. You probably can't, step 10 feet without running to some of these people who used to live under that system and ask them, hey, what was it like?
Right.
You'll get an earful.
Exactly. Right. I was a travel nurse there in 2004. And people who were just very just happy to be here. and happy to be, free. We're free as we know free, but we're even freer than we think we are, because we're still feeling like we're governed by some kind of a fake sort of, I don't know the word that escapes me right now, but we really do. We're free just because we're born human. But again, we've allowed ourselves to feel that we're governed by something other than just the rights of just being born human. That's what I can think of.
Yeah.
So I've just been really thinking about this lately. But anyway, so it's a bit somber for me. But I was so glad to have found that out today, that there was more stated than that. But it makes me sadder, because I didn't realize, and a lot of people didn't, that the media and that these people have been put in place. I believe, like, everyone who's on the news, even even the politicians, the Cory Bookers, the Kamala Harrises, the Colin Kaepernicks, the Barack Obamas, a lot of people don't realize these people are born and groomed into positions where they are today. And so we don't know the long game. I think that's what it's called, playing the long game.
Well, no, they are playing the long game. Remember, that Ocasio-Cortez, they started this operation back in 2014 to find, attractive young female candidates who would just kind of just spit out their talking points. It was the Justice Democrats, and they're backed by Soros and Cenk Uygur and the Young Turks. And this started in 2014. They put out they went to the neighborhood saying, hey, you can nominate somebody who you think could be good to run for Congress. They had an application process. They did interviews. They found her. She was a bartender.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she has a bachelor of arts degree, arts degree from. I mean, Ocasio-Cortez has a bachelor of arts degree in economics from one of the top schools on the East Coast, Boston College, and there she is working as a bartender. And they grab her and off to the races.
And an architect, but then they keep saying that she grew up very poor. So I'm not, but I tell you, the other day when she did the video, the live stream, she's drinking wine, eating popcorn, nothing wrong with that. But she said, well, I just want a world for my children, my children. And then she goes, well, in 70 years from now, I'd like it to be stated that, I'm thinking that I thought the world was ending in 12 years. So why is she talking about her children or 70 years from now? Again, it's all.
No, they'll be dead. We'll be underwater. We're all going to be underwater.
Exactly.
Or we'll all be stuck in Iowa, all crammed together.
Yeah, and they lie with impunity, and they don't care. So again, once you see that and the scales fall off, you can't go back. And so I just,
no,
it's just amazing. Don't ever underestimate how far they'll go to keep the lie up.
Oh no, they're still going. Yeah. I mean, no, look, this climate change thing. We saw this 4 years ago, and I forgot who I was watching.
Climate does change, but it doesn't have anything to do with human beings, and right.
Yeah, I remember 4 years ago.
With carbon entities, carbon-based.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, the ice age occurred. I mean, I don't know how many 10,000 years ago, whatever it was. But I mean, there weren't a lot of factories up at that time, nor were there a lot of cars and stuff like that. And you had the ice age. Mm-hmm. I mean, Long Island was the halfway down Long Island was where the glacier stopped. That's why, if you know anything about New York, if you know anything about New York, the North Shore of Long Island is very rocky, and the South Shore, the beaches are very sandy, because the glacier stopped right there at Long Island, coming down. So, I mean, there weren't any cavemen driving around in I don't know, Camrys or Ford Mustangs or anything like that.
Ford 150s, right?
Yeah, there weren't any pickup trucks. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, there weren't any pickup trucks back then, So I mean, it's just, I mean, well, hey, you could look at like Africa. Like right now we have sub-Sahara Africa. That's where it's really green. The Congo, Ghana, those places. And then north of that, all the way to the coast, is like shit. It's all desert, right? Well, it wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
The whole continent was like sub-Saharan Africa, and what happened was the world shifted on its axis by like 1 degree, some really nominal small number, for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Nobody, I'm not sure why, but in that
Mm-hmm.
tilt affected the climate, excuse me, of the entire world, and caused other places to become very lush, and caused basically the desert to kind of
Yeah.
like push south and just keep pushing
Mm-hmm.
south. That's why a lot of people emigrated from. That's how you got the mass migration. People come from Africa, going to Europe and Asia, and et cetera, like that. Because suddenly things were just getting really
Okay.
bad. So I mean, we had nothing to do with that. I mean, that just shit just
Right.
happens, for whatever
Because
reason.
Charles, that's interesting you say that because I love maps and globes. Yeah. And one of the guy who was really into like I guess geophysical and stuff and the science, he said, "Now check this out. Now push all these things back together." And I thought, oh my gosh, that's where they broke apart. Because even look at Australia, where it would have been. It's like
Hmm.
there was when there was a shift, all those things change. And I thought, oh my goodness, but if you put it back together, it's like a puzzle.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
really impressive. And I'm wondering if that's why the Aboriginal people, like of Africa, they look, I guess, African and something else, but they are Australian. But that was a part, I guess, it would have been all shifted together, Africa.
Yeah.
That's really that's just really neat to me. So look, I don't want to hold up any time, and in the chat, someone else wants to call in.
Oh yeah, no problem. Hey, great phone call, Miss Texas, and I wish you go back
Okay,
to
thank
Texas
you.
RN because it's a much shorter
Yes,
name.
I think you know what I think I am. I think it was Paul who said something about. I think I probably will. It's too long, but I was going with something then. So anyway,
No, I know. I understand the concept. It's just like if
yes,
you're on a
right. It's
laptop,
so clear.
if you're on a laptop, you can just hit the at button and type in two
Hmm.
words, and you can get your whole string. But if you're on a cell phone, you don't get that at button kind of thing. You got to kind of
Right.
yeah. So a
I
lot of
have a
people use
bare
cell
bones
phones and they want to write
operation.
to you, and they're like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
jeez. You got to write like a
Well, I
paragraph
think
to
I'll
get to
get a
you.
computer again at some point because I know I haven't had television since 2013, and it's on purpose, and I don't have a computer either. So I've just been using the cell phone. So anyway, I need to come back because weather happens upon me in
Well,
the
know what you ought to
serious way. Because I
do?
just
You know what you ought to do? You can get like a really inexpensive laptop for like next to nothing, and as long as it's got Windows 10 on it, and
mm-hmm.
and like
Windows is
Wi-Fi
10 now.
ability.
Okay.
Yeah, and then just pick up a little webcam. I
Okay.
mean, you get an inexpensive webcam for like $39, $49. So you get yourself a little inexpensive
Yeah.
laptop. It's got Windows 10 on it. Put a little webcam on it. Maybe attach a little headset mic. Those are cheap. You get those at
Mm-hmm.
Walgreens. You with a USB cord,
Okay.
plug it into your laptop, and you can
Okay.
you can appear on the panel.
All right, well, Carl, I shall consider everything you stated. and anyway, but yeah, I will. I promise, because I think I need to kind of
Yeah,
come back into a little bit of
yeah. You just get a
technology. Yeah.
used laptop. You don't have to get a new one. People turn their laptops all the time into computer stores, and they refurbish
Yeah.
them for a couple $100. They load Windows 10 on it, and you're good to go.
Okay, will do. Will do.
All right, Miss
I'll certainly
Texas. I promised
consider it.
Mr. Douchebag I'd call him
Okay,
back.
thank you. And
All
hey,
right, take care.
everybody, my
All right,
patients, I love you all. Back on chat. Bye.
bye bye. Hey, everybody. I promised Mr. Douchebag I'd get him a call back. So let me see if I can get him back on here. There we go. Boom. There we go. TGD. TGD.
What's up, Carl? How you doing?
Hey, all right, man. How are you?
Good, good, good. I tried to call, but I didn't know. What was that? Who was that? That called?
Texas.
Was it?
That was Texas.
Texas. Oh, hey, what's up, Texas? Hey, Carl, real quick. I just want to give a shout out to Shauna, graphic designer. Everybody, go check out her website.
Oh,
Check out her channel. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Yeah,
but I say,
she's
yeah,
very talented. You ever
check
seen-
our channel, YouTube channel.
Yeah, you ever seen some of her designs? Really,
No.
really cool. Really, really artistic. Oh yeah, awesome, awesome.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. She did a couple of really cool ones today with a keyboard and like kind of like a mixer board, if I remember correctly. I don't. Yeah, I think it was a mixer board and a keyboard, but.
Oh.
Oh,
Well,
Carl,
I'll tell you what. Hey,
yeah,
Shonda.
but,
Shonda, wait, hold on. Hey, Shonda. I got this graphics thing on my vMix software, but it's a computer graphics thing, and I've been wanting to use it, but every time I try, I forget it. I can't do it. So, Shonda, please send me an email so I can like pick your brain if you don't mind. Okay, I'll sub to your site, and in exchange, I get to pick your brain. So here, I'll put my email here. So at Shonda. Yeah, her name says it all. I don't know why I didn't catch that. Jesus, what a dumb.
Yeah. Oh no,
Wait,
she's
hold on.
talented, very talented. I mean,
Okay,
yeah. Oh, sorry.
Hold on, let me type this in real quick. That way, it'll be easier for her to get it through the chat. Yeah. Boom. There you go. So yeah. So in exchange for me subbing to your site, you have to like help me with my graphics, computer graphics on my software. That sounds like I'm getting a really great deal actually.
Yeah. Hey, Carl, today. Oh, and everybody, please get over to Forbidden Information and Chrissy Ann and Tony Patriot. Today on the American Joe Show, he actually helped some patriots out get some channel subscribers to their channels.
Well, that's good.
And the reason why I've been doing super chats all day. I did one for Chrissy Ann and
Well,
Forbidden Information, Tony Patriot.
Well, I made the reason why I made a lot of these guys moderators so they put links. If you're not a moderator, you really can't put a link on YouTube. They won't let you do it.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody said that, I was like, I made a bunch of these guys moderators so they could put the links on. I have no problem with them putting their links to the channel. I told them that night. So hey guys, you got if you want to put a link to your channel, you got my blessing. So go for it. Hey, no problem.
Awesome, awesome.
I mean, no, hey man, hey, let me say it. Mm-hmm. I've told this story how many times? Okay, I was on O'Shea Duke's channel. Okay, I had 12 subs. 12. Okay, he calls me on to do an interview. I do an interview with him and another guy named LAR Movement. Okay, he says, "Hey, sub to Carl's site." He's only got like 12 subs because I was just kind of goofing off. I wasn't really doing anything with it. I was just, I wasn't doing anything. And suddenly I had 1,000 subs. I'm like, hey, I mean, without that, I probably wouldn't have done any of this. Because then after I got 1,000 subs, I'm like, well, I should take this seriously. So then I started looking into like software and audio and microphones and internet speed and upload speed, speed tests on the computer. I really started getting into all this production. Before then though, I was just on Axis site goofing off. And this guy brings me on his show, gave me like my big break, tells all those guys, "Hey, sub over to Carl." And literally within like 2 days, maybe 3, I had like 1,000 subs.
Yeah.
I had that night I was on it because he has a big site. He has like 60,000 subs. So his live chat had like over 1,000 people on it. That night I got like 500-600 people. Literally, I was watching it within minutes. Yeah. And he was yelling at his people, sub. So it was really great. Hey, I'm totally down with the concept. Totally.
Well, today what's funny, because today I gave Chrissy Ann, Tony Patriot, Forbidden Information a shout out on Diamond and Silk, as well as Will Unite the Right. I was able to do a super chat, right? Now get this. When I tried to do another super chat, it wouldn't let me. It kept going, edit information, try again. You know what they're doing? They're messing with the super chats. They're not. I don't know that for sure. Don't get me wrong.
Well, I had a problem like that. But, whose site was I on? There was, God, it was like, yeah, it's like, well, maybe the language. Now, did you put a link in there?
No.
Okay, it wasn't a link, because sometimes that'll keep you from doing it. But maybe like a word that maybe could have been blocked or something.
I had to
block
word it
word.
Differently, yeah. But,
yeah.
But hopefully people, because like when I first started, see, people like Joe, you, and going into super chats, they have platforms that can help these smaller YouTube channels grow. Now, I give praise to American Joe because he's in it for the cause, but I think you're in it for the cause. Axel's in it for the cause. He was another one to give a shout out to them too today as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are in it for the cause, but when you look at like Kevin's Corner, Will Watt, they're all in it for the cause. But I would like to see some of these other platforms, these bigger platforms, give the smaller channels a shout out, because what we can do is, see, they don't want us organizing. They probably already see that we're organizing. I mean, I remember when I first found Forbidden Information, I think she was at 92 subs, and Christiane, I think, was at 90. But then I started, going on to Trump Parody Guy's call-in show, right, giving shout-outs to him, right? American Joe was doing the same thing, giving them shout-outs, right? And then I noticed their channels were growing. I mean, come on, everybody knows the great douchebag, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every time I see my name highlighted in red, that's kind of like a signature thing for me,
Right.
They probably see that, some of us, because we are kind of organizing, let's face it, we're all kind of organizing, we're a little bit of a community, and that's what we need to do. If we can just get those bigger channels to give shout outs to the smaller channels, and it's like me, I'm not going to quit. If the super chat don't do it, I'll keep doing it, $50, $20, $10, if that's what it takes, because 2020 is fast approaching, and we either take a stand right now, get a voice, or we're going to lose our country. I mean, it's that simple. There's no beating around the bush to it.
Right.
I mean, I think it's like Lee was talking about. We got to get organized. I mean, we're getting better at it, but we got to get better at getting better. I mean, anybody like I'm still trying to hopefully if Sweet Li ever does a call-in show, because it was funny, she made an announcement. I think I was like the fourth person she mentioned, like for people to call in to her show. But she's got a pretty good following. If she would ever do a call-in show, I don't know if she's got her streaming privileges back or not, but I can go on there and give a shout out to.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's. I think a lot of people avoid. Like for me, when I was getting started on it, I did some research. You just start. You got to put some time into get on the computer, get on Google, and just start punching in things like, Skype, computer, mixer board, call in, and then you start getting all these YouTube videos, these instructional videos, and you got to watch them. I mean, I can't tell you how many hundreds of hours, literally, I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of hours of either from videos from vMix, videos just that from guys who are doing what I'm doing, who've already done it, guys who talk about how to podcast, and just basic stuff like what kind of microphone to buy. You buy a lot of stuff you think is right, and then you get it, and then you watch something and said, oh, you shouldn't have bought that. But like with me, I go with a mixer board setup. I have an audio interface as well. With me, I have to do something extra different because of my internet speed here. The most I can get is 10 megs going up, and that's barely enough to do anything. So I have 3 computers with 3 different internet service providers on it. Well, AT&T on 2 of them, but 2 different accounts, and then my homegrown Valley Electric. So I use the Valley Electric that give me 40 megs down. I use that to bring in the callers and all the newspaper articles, and then I use one computer just straight up uploading, and then another computer I use for the emails, to be able to email people the links, keep Skype in the background, and also then just to monitor YouTube. So I mean, for people who live in places that have like Axe, I was talking to Axe, and we were talking one day, and he goes, "Oh, I have like 91 megs going up," and I was like, "I'm going to go to Atlanta and kill you," because I mean, it was like, that's like awesome. I mean, it's like, I'm like, if I had like 30, I'd be jumping up and down. 25, I'd be jumping up and down. But he's got 90 going up, and I'm like, oh man, but he lives in Atlanta. It's a big city. I live in a little dinky town.
Oh yeah.
It's like, what am I gonna do with that?
Well,
So
you know, Carl, it's like, you know, I mean, because like us, you know, you, American Joe, Tom, you know, it's funny, Tom Benz is another one who likes my one-liners, and I tried to, whenever he does a live show, I can hopefully throw up a super chat. I mean, he knows the great douchebag, he loves my one-liners. But you know what, the thing about the one-liners is it's a way to get people's attention, you know, to get people familiar with who I am. See, again, I'm street smart, not college smart, you know, so I kind of throw my one-liners around, you know, see who recognizes me, you know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
what's funny is you have people giving me shout-outs to the moderators, hey, he's one of us, you know, and I want to thank people for doing that, you know, because I know when I start making fun, I think sometimes too when I start making fun of AOC and the establishment politicians, it's like, okay, well, he's making fun of them, he's not trolling, you know, because obviously I'm not trolling anybody, I'm just making fun of the, you know, AOC, you know.
right.
I mean, and it's funny because people highlight my name in red and they're like, you know, the douchebag is one of us, or the great douchebag is part of our crowd. He's a good guy. It's so funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, but you know, you know, because it's like, see, I don't have the ability to get behind the camera and give the news like you do. I mean, I have an ability to understand what's going on, see what's going on. But see, you like Tony Patriot, Christiane, Forbidden Information, you guys have a talent for being able to, you know, talk to the people in the chat.
Well, what are you
know,
talking
you
about?
guys are-
That's like you're doing it right now. What the hell are you talking about?
Well,
I mean, you're doing
if
it
I were to
right
do-
now.
but-
You're
yeah,
just
but see, I
talking to
got-
me.
But I got other.
So instead of talking to me,
Yeah.
you'd be talking to everybody on your site. It's the same thing. What's the difference?
Yeah.
And then instead of you calling in to be some guy like me calling in and talk to you, the only difference would be you'd be on the other end of the microphone. That's it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're talking about. Of course you could do this. You're doing it right now.
Well, no, I know, but I mean like on an everyday basis. You know, I mean, I don't know if I don't know. I've thought about it. I've thought about maybe making a video, but I'm almost at 100 subs, and it's funny because I don't even try to promote myself. I don't even say, hey, subscribe to the Great Douchebag. I don't even. I mean, I just pick up subs as I go into these different channels and you know, read these one-liner jokes.
Post some
you know?
videos. You look, just
I don't
throw.
know, they
Look, you
crucify-
got
I
to
think they
look. Here's the
crucify me.
deal. Here's the deal. Okay, Sticks and Hammer has a cell phone and a mic, and he has 300,000 subs. Okay, now I can't do what he does. Okay, because I watch his show every morning. I watch 3 or 4 of his videos every morning at 6 a.m. my time. I'm up early. I watch Mark Dice at 5 a.m. my time. And then Sticks comes on at 6. You know, so I'm usually watching Mark around like 5:30, and then Sticks. Okay, that guy's remarkable. Okay, I can't do that. That guy's great. Now, but if you're not Sticks and Hammer, okay, and you need a little production,
Yeah.
you got to throw a few bucks into
Yeah.
it. You know, got to get a good mic. You know, good software. You know, good audio, good video. You know, so you know your viewers, you know, can get a good show. And if you don't, like, they will let you know. Your sound sucks.
Yeah.
You know, when I first came
Yeah.
on, your sound sucks. You know, like you shouldn't be on YouTube. I'm like, hey, buddy, F you. You know, it's like, screw you. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, you
Yeah.
try doing this. But no, it's important to, you know, I mean, a lot of time I put hours and hours in trying to work things out and you know, run this cable here, run this mic cable here, tie this in back over here. And like I said, I'm kind of at a disadvantage because I got to run through, forget like the YouTube computer, but I got to run through at least 2 computers. So I can't like use one mixer board, you know, and all going through one computer and then all out up to YouTube. I got to tie them in. But that's my own hell. I don't want to bore you with that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
I remember the first time I went live on your show. I know I blacked out my camera, but then I remember we talked the day. What was it? 2 days before the show or a day before the show? And I'm like, you know, maybe Carl's got a point. You know, I mean, everybody else is showing their face, so I might as well show my face. You know what I'm saying? So ever since then, I've just been showing my face whenever I go live on your show.
yeah, well, I think it's important for like people we're trying to reach to say that we're not hiding. You know, we're not hiding.
Yeah,
like
no, that's
in my
true.
town, like
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like I just ran a half-page newspaper ad for advertising my site, and 3 weeks ago, I ran a full-page ad when I did that chili cook-off, and I'm doing another event here in a couple of weeks also. We're gonna have a booth and like I did. Remember the chili cook-off? I did the live interviews and stuff. Yeah, what I'm going to try to do this time.
I've never seen that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Go back and look. It says chili cook-off. Yeah, you can't miss it. Well, no, you called in.
Yeah.
You called in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you called in while I was there.
That guy if I remember correctly, Carl, I gotta ask. I thought I heard something, but didn't the guy ask something like, "Who was the douchebag" or something like that? Or
I can't remember. I was when
no,
you're doing a live event out in the field. There's so many things you got to keep track of. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. You know.
Oh,
So
no, because I saw that you put the guy on hold, and I don't remember what he was because my audio went blank for like a second when I was watching you. And because I think I called in that day you were doing it, right? When you were doing the chili
I talked to
cook-off
you.
that time? Yeah. But I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it's not a big deal or anything. I just thought it was kind of funny because the audio like blanked off and the guy was like, look, he had a little puzzled look on his face when I called. I don't know. I probably ought to change my name, but I don't know. I've thought about it, but
well,
hey,
I'll be honest with you.
You know what I mean?
Honestly, might not be a bad idea because you might lose some people who might have a hard time using that word. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So people were trying to reach, and it's like, I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but, you may lose some people.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah. It's funny because sometimes people see that name and they probably don't take it, seriously. But I think as time goes on, some people get to see the name, and things like that. Like, I don't know. Carl, are you there?
Yeah, right here.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, I thought I lost the call.
No.
Because like I know like when I go into I try not to drop like one-liner after one-liner because I try not to like make it old, you know what I'm saying? Because I do interact. Right. I do interact in the things like that, you know what I mean? But sometimes I don't know if the one-liners are a distraction sometimes because then other people start doing it too. Hey, I tell you, I've been seeing some great one-liners. Sean has been coming up with some excellent one-liners. And Fred Knott, he's been doing some good ones too. I think I may have to retire. But I don't know. But anyway, Carl. But I think it's it's like Disabled Vets Perspective. I've been trying to promote him too. I've been giving him shout outs, but I think if we get people to grow their channels. Like some of it, Joe's done a couple shout outs for Forbidden Information. I hope he does one for Chrissy Ann because he could definitely help Chrissy Ann reach a bigger audience, and one for Tony Patriot. Because there's only so much I can do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if people don't know who I am, then they may not check out the websites. You know what I'm saying? Or the YouTube pages.
Right.
But I'm just hoping that some of these bigger platforms start, helping these smaller channels out because, because like I said, if we can grow these channels, we can, tell YouTube, hey, look, we ain't going nowhere, and it sends them a message, through actions,
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. No, we just gotta back each other up, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, anybody wants to put a link to their channel on my chat room, I am forget having zero problem with it. I'm great with it. Go for it. Again, I was sitting around fiddling around with 12 subs. Okay, this guy puts me on the site, gives me big shout outs, tells he's got 60,000 subs, he's got over 1,000 people watching, and he says next thing I know I have 1,000. 1,000. Boom, just like when I'm going to snap my fingers in the mic, just like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So so that was perfect. So I have no problem doing that for everybody else. So because without that I'd be still right now I'd be at like 15 subs. So I'd have 3 more maybe. Okay. And I would have never got into all this. I would have never got into all this production stuff either. Because all the microphones, the video, internet, cameras, all that. I would have never done that.
Yeah.
And then with that, I started promoting myself locally, with the newspaper ads, I did the Balloon Festival, I did the Chili Cook-Off, I'm doing another event here in a couple of weeks. So, see, that's the thing too also, don't just rely on the internet. If you can promote yourself locally, if you, do that, find, you don't have to find the most expensive newspaper in town. You know, if you live in a big city, you got a lot of different like penny savers and stuff like that. You know, advertising there is really cheap. You know, put a couple of decent looking ads in there, advertising your YouTube channel. You know, I mean,
I was trying to get Tony Patriot. To do it, and I told him, "Hey, look, man, you got my email. Let me know, and I can help you foot the bill for the cost of advertising your site. I have no problem doing that. You know?
Go local.
No problem.
You
I have no problem. Yeah.
You don't depend on people. You know, just subbing to you from 2,000 miles away. You know, if you live somewhere and people know you, I mean, you know, people know me. Everybody knows Carl's opinion is Carl Jogger. You know, and I've been up here for 16 years. You know, so everybody knows me.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, some people like me,
It's like,
some people don't, but whatever.
hey, I like Carl. I like you, Carl. I like you,
All right.
Carl.
Hey.
You know, but real quick, Carl. But but see, like Lee. I know you probably got other callers. I don't want to hold anybody's time. You know, that was the thing about Lee Pure Imagination UTV because I came across him. I think he had a little over 1,000 subs, and I gave him a shout out to you because I knew you could help him, you know, reach a larger audience, you know, because he's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Yeah,
great
I like
content,
him. I wish he could have been on last night,
things,
but like I said, I sent him an email. He never responded. I called him, but his voicemail box was full. So I was like, well, hey, you know, and I had what 7 on when he was in the chat room, and it was enough with 7. In fact, I'm probably going to limit. I decided, like, you know how we ended it with just a total of 6 of us. You know, 5 plus me, that little 6 box. Okay. That I think was better. It's better for the audio. Okay, if I only have 5 audios in mine to keep track of, it's much easier on me because I can relax a little bit. But if I'm chasing me plus 7 or 8 audios and keeping track of everybody, basically I have no time to even participate. I can't even. Somebody will say something to me. I said, like last night, I said, you know what? I didn't hear anything you just said. I was over here doing this stuff, you know. So, but yeah, I think if I max it out at like 5 guests at a time, so 5 that little 6 box thing we did, I think that. And plus, it looks better. It looks more distinguished. It looks more. It's got different breakups on it. You know, it looks better. It just looks better. Yeah.
I was going to say too, Carl, if you want, let's say if you have like another guest panel show again. Let's say like okay, I don't mind doing this. Like let's say for the first hour I would go live with you, right? And then somebody else wants a turn, you can bump me off, and then that other person can come on. That way everybody gets a say and everybody can give their input and knowledge. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem doing that. Like I could be on for like the first hour, and then say if Lee wants to come on, you can bump me off, and then I go back in the chat, and then Lee can come on. You know what I mean?
That can be done because I have enough. I can pull 8 cameras at once. 8 callers at once, so I can keep like 3 in reserve, and then as you go off, then I can bring somebody else in, and then bring that camera into your position. So yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's a good way. It's a good way to get everybody, you know, to talk. Say like, I'd like to see Shonda come. I mean, if she wants to, you know, that's up to her. You know, if she wants to come on your show, or you know, I'd like to see Chrissy Ann come back on. You know, she know. I mean, she has a lot of good knowledge about what's going on. You know, in you know, like in California and just all over. You know, so does Lee. So does Tony Patriot. You know, and like I said, I wouldn't mind doing that. You know, like 1 hour and then I could go off and then somebody else come on. You know, I mean, I think that'd be a good thing. You know, that way everybody gets a voice.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea. In fact, tell you what, let me let you go because I promised Disabled Vet I'd give him a call back.
Okay, all right. Great talking to you, Carl, and I will see you in the chat.
All right, man. Hey, thanks so much for everything you do, douchebag.
Oh, you're welcome, brother. You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, man. Take care.
We're all in. All right, take care. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello.
Is this Disabled Vet's Perspective?
Yes, it is. This is Alex, Disabled Vet's Perspective. How you doing?
Doing very good. How you doing tonight?
Oh, man, if I were doing any better, I'd have to have myself surgically checked.
Good deal, man. So yeah, hey, so what do you want to talk about tonight?
Well, I've been amused by the constant banter of impeach 45 again,
Yeah,
and one thing that kind of got my attention was this Mueller report. It was a report by a prosecutor, but he was still a subling. He still has supervisors. So I think that the masses were confusing him with Comey, where Comey made a decision not to prosecute and did the whole thing, became the jury and the court and the judge and everything, and decided that Hillary wasn't going to be prosecuted. So they expected Mueller to do the same thing in reverse and to write the report and give his assessment and then decide that everybody's going to be prosecuted. But if you look at the way the report was written, it was written as a subordinate. He says, I'm not, there's no evidence of guilt, but there's nothing to exonerate either. Well, that's because it's not his job to prosecute or exonerate. It's his job to make a referral, and his boss is the one that decides based on the information
right.
if there's going to be a prosecution or a acquittal. Or if there's nothing to be seen, then there's not even a acquittal necessary. It's suspended and thrown out.
Yeah.
But, the thing, it just blows my mind how they dance around wording and they try to use situations that have happened in the past, like Comey getting up there and talking about all the crimes that Hillary had done, and at that point she should have been submitted for criminal prosecution or at least investigation
Yeah.
by somebody that is above him, and he chose to do all of it, judge, jury, and non-executioner all by himself.
Yeah, well, Loretta Lynch kind of recused herself because of that famous meeting in Phoenix, I think it was Phoenix Airport with Bill Clinton on the tarmac. So she kind of
that's the thing. She said she recused herself, but I don't think she really did. I think she just she stepped back into the shadow and continued to do her bidding from there.
Yeah.
I think the whole recusal thing was just a cop-out.
Yeah.
Just like this, that Fox chick up there in
Chicago. Yeah.
She said, "Oh yeah, I recused myself," but she didn't.
Well,
So
yeah, actually, they admitted that she
game.
didn't. Yeah, she actually said they tried to say. I covered this one night, and I said, she said, "Oh, we weren't talking about the word recusal in a legal sense. We just would like talking in a casual sense." And well, I'm an attorney,
Right.
for 25 years. Okay, trust me, I talk to a lot of attorneys. I don't think anybody has ever casually said to one another, "Hey, are you recusing yourself to go to the restaurant tonight?" You know, I mean, nobody. You only use that word in a legal context. I mean, you don't use it anywhere else. You know, I mean, it doesn't come up. 25 years,
Yeah.
I've never used that word casually in any kind of like conversation. You know, I'm going to recuse myself to the bathroom. No, it never happened.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like I think they use it as an excuse for a sneeze. Will recuse me, and that kind of thing.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, I
No,
agree.
but the thing with
wordplay.
Mueller, yeah, the thing with Mueller, it's like, well, I didn't find any evidence to exonerate him. Well, first of all, that line should have never been written anyway. That's not at minimum. His job would be if he's gonna is to determine whether to prosecute or not. So he'd say, okay, I'm declining prosecution. End stop sentence.
Right.
That's it. You don't say, well, I didn't find anything to exonerate. Well, your job wasn't to exonerate anybody. Your evidence was to find evidence of a crime. And you said, I didn't find enough evidence to say he committed a crime. But I didn't find enough evidence to exonerate him. Well, you don't go looking for evidence to exonerate somebody. That wasn't his job. So I mean, I don't even know what the hell that was about. You know, I have no idea. That was just throwing something out for the Democrats so they wouldn't hate his guts. You know, and start calling him a conspiracy, part of the Trump conspiracy and everything. He just kind of threw that out there just to kind of muddy up the waters.
It
basically
became one of the Trump puppets as soon as he didn't toe their line.
Oh yeah,
I think that,
yeah.
the whole thing is just, it's a disgrace. But the other little thing that kind of has been going through my mind, not to completely jump off of one subject to another, but
I know your time is valuable, but I wanted to bring up the issue of trying to get rid of the Electoral College and trying to make it so that illegal aliens are crammed into red districts so they can flip the vote and turn it blue. And I know that the game is designed to get control from the two elite coasts. And I did a video on this today because it's really been going through my head a bit. But if people haven't quite noticed, we're already technically controlled by the elite coasts at this point already. We've got the chair members of the committees are all from Los Angeles, or from California and from New York, with the exception of Maryland for, can't think of his name right off the top of my head.
Elijah Cummings? Elijah
yeah,
Cummings?
that's the one. Yeah. He's a beauty. But what I'm saying is we're technically already controlled by the coasts, and if you really want to get it technical about it, it's our president is from New York. Thank God he's on our team, but it's still controlled by the two coasts.
Yeah.
So it's already set up, and they're just trying to make sure that they can leave the setup in place, but also kick it into overdrive for the liberal agenda. But,
well, the funny thing about the funny thing about that argument, okay, other than the fact that we've had the system for 230 years, it's worked out really well. Everybody gets to get pissed off a little bit every 8 years. You know what I mean? I mean, every 8 years. Just think about it. The only difference was H.W. winning after Reagan in '88. So Democrats got to be pissed off for 12 years instead of 8. Okay.
Right.
But other than that, it's generally 8 years. I mean, I swear, the conversations I'm having today with, like, my liberal friends are the same. Hello?
Yeah, yep, I'm listening.
Okay. Yeah, so it's the same conversation I had 10 years ago. It's like, hey, the world's not going to end. Okay. No one president can, like, totally upend the country. There's just too many checks and balances. The way these old men wrote up the Constitution and the checks and balances and all that, they did a great job. So anyway, so this Electoral College system makes sure we don't have a tyranny of the majority of the population. We make sure that it's regional. Every state, people have to go pay attention to it every 4 years. They have to make certain promises, or at least pay attention to their issues, versus just paying attention to the issues on the West Coast and the East Coast. And it's worked. 230 years. Why change it? But other than that, though, think about this. Okay, say you made a popular vote. Are you saying, okay, in California, we all know a lot of Republicans stay home because they know their vote doesn't count. And even in the congressional races or state assembly, state senate, they know, their vote's going nowhere. It's not going to make California red. It's not going to get a Republican elected to their Congress. It's not going to get a Republican elected in their assembly district or a state senate district. So they just stay home. Now, if all of us knew in those blue states that your vote did count, you don't think Trump would have been out there campaigning in California left way and sideways in 16?
Yeah, well,
of course. In New York,
too,
of course.
You mentioned that about the Republicans not coming out to vote. But even with the Republicans staying home in L.A. County, they had 112% of the vote. So that doesn't work out.
Well, no, that's another issue. Right, yeah. So we got a whole other thing.
Even with half the population staying home and saying, forget it, I give up, they still got 112%.
Yeah. No, I know. But that's another issue. But the point is, even if you change it to a popular vote, I don't think the Democrats necessarily are going to win. I think in all those big populated blue states, California, New York, Washington, Oregon, Virginia, if the president, even Michigan, if the president went out and campaigned heavy in the big population centers, he'd get a lot of votes. But he's not going to do that in 2020 because we still have the Electoral College. I mean, look,
Well, that's being given away one state at a time right now, too. I think it's Colorado just turned over their Electoral College vote to the popular vote.
Yeah, but think about it. All the states doing that are blue states.
Right.
So what difference does it make?
That's going to make it sting at the end, and the people of those states are being disenfranchised.
No, no,
They're
no.
just
What I'm saying is,
ignorant to understand it.
no, no. What I'm saying is, okay. First of all, it's probably unconstitutional, so it'll probably get challenged, probably get struck
Right.
down. Okay, that's one. But two, all the states doing that. Okay, say the Democrats win the popular vote in 2020. All the states that are signing up for this are blue states. They're going to go blue anyway. So what difference does it make? Their
Right.
electoral votes are going for the Democrat. So big deal. I mean, Colorado might be a swing state, but it really hasn't been a swing state in a few election cycles. Okay, so that's really a blue
Yeah.
state now. So yeah,
Well,
New
that
Mexico.
entire state is basically decided by Denver. And then the general consensus of the people I know in the outlying counties and districts out there, they are completely disenfranchised. I mean, the whole state looks red when you look at it for registered voters, but then you go to Denver, and Denver basically makes the decision for the entire state.
Well, no, I have the same problem here. I'm in Nevada. Okay, if you look at a map of the
Right,
of
yeah,
the vote
okay.
in 2016, the whole state was red, except for Clark County, Las Vegas, and that was enough to tip the scale. I think Washoe County went for Clinton also, but it was a very small percentage difference. But Clark County went overwhelmingly for Clinton, and the rest of the state we got shut out. So trust me, I know what that's like. Okay, it just happened to me. 3 years
So that's
ago.
why I think they're pumping these states or these districts so full of the illegal immigrants. I don't know how they're going to get away with letting them vote, but they seem to do pretty well at that. And,
Well, you got to remember,
with the illegals voting and the ballot stuffing and the dead people and all that.
right?
I mean, I lost my dad 5 years ago, and he was a Republican his whole life. And the last 5 years, he's been voting Democrat. So it's ridiculous.
No, I know what you mean. No, I mean two things on that. One, who's going to prosecute? Like in California, okay, you got a Democratic governor, you got a Democrat Secretary of State that's in charge of the voting, Democrat Attorney General. Okay, who's going to prosecute?
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi is the aunt of the California governor.
Oh, well, there you go.
Are three families that own the West Coast completely.
Yeah. So I mean, the way they get away with it is that nobody prosecutes. Okay. I follow a lot of black YouTube, and Uber guy, he was in Georgia. He's a black conservative, and so anyway, he goes to vote, he goes to vote, right? Did you hear this story? He goes to the polls.
I'm not sure.
Okay, he goes to the polls to cast his ballot 2018 because he's going to vote for I already forgot his name, Republican governor of Georgia, whatever.
I don't have his name on the tip of my tongue either.
It was there, but I lost it. But anyway, so he goes to vote. Well, they say, "Oh, sorry, you already voted." He goes, "What? No, I didn't."
Okay.
He goes, "Yeah, you mailed in your ballot."
Yes, I did hear this one.
Yeah. He goes, "I didn't mail in my ballot. I've never mailed in my ballot my entire life. Somebody got his name, his voting information, mailed in a ballot, most likely for Stacey Abrams. Not for the guy.
Right.
I wish I could remember his name. Not for the guy he wanted to vote for. So they gave him a provisional ballot. I said, fill this provisional ballot out. We'll look into it. But think of all the people
Right.
who don't go to the polls and find out somebody voted in their place. The people who stay home.
Yeah, and those provisional ballots, a lot of times, they just happen to disappear.
Yep, that's true too. Jack Kemp, thank you. Very good. Appreciate it. Thank you, Talise. Much appreciated. Yep, Kemp. But so
last thing I wanted to say was, I want to go ahead and let somebody else have some more time on here. I kind of got my rant out of the way, but I wanted to just thank the great douchebag and you and everybody else that's been helping to promote my channel. It's a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've been sitting on information most of my life and just kind of kept my mouth shut about it, and I finally decided to start doing this YouTube thing, and I've got a lot of knowledge packed up in me, and I want to work on getting it out. I have no fear. I'm not a person that's intimidated, so that isn't going to work if somebody tried to talk me into walking away from it. But it does help to have channels like you guys to push us forward.
Oh, definitely.
And, also, yesterday we were going to do that that panel, but I ended up with a hell of a storm that came through, and I made a joke about our internet out here in the country is delivered on horseback.
Yeah,
So,
well, I'm not far behind you. Like I was telling douchebag, I got to use 3 separate internet accounts with 3 different computers to be able to make this thing happen. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm like right with you exactly. I know exactly what you're going through. It's a real pain in the ass.
Well,
Totally.
I am just starting out, so I've got a cheap little laptop and a cell phone, but I'm going to be working on getting my stuff going a little bit.
You know what? That's exactly
That's
how I started. That's exactly the only thing I had different. I had a webcam from like 3 years ago, and I just had it, never used it. So I learned how to hook up the webcam, and I looked up what kind of mic to buy. I bought this little cheap mic and a cell phone. That was it. That's all I started with.
Yeah, well,
nothing
cheap
else.
is my middle name.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
just my last name too. But
yeah, just do your research before you buy anything. See exactly what you need, and just hit those YouTube videos. There's a lot of instructional videos on YouTube, on audio, video, and cameras, and what kind of stuff to get. And it's a lot. You got to put a lot of time into watching this stuff, but it pays off. Really does. So.
Yeah.
But hey, yeah, put your link in the description in the chat room. And I can tell. I made you a moderator.
I'm not even sure how to do that on a cell phone yet.
Oh, hey, douchebag, put disabled vets link in the chat room, okay? Unless if you haven't done it already, that might be it right there. I think he's got it up there for you, so no problem.
Well, I am grateful. And as far as the douchebag goes, if he wants to change his name, I thought of a good one on there. I said the Great Goldbag, because he's valuable as hell to all of us.
Yeah, Goldbag.
He's one top-notch kind of guy right there. He's creating a patriot movement and a community that is going to be really, really powerful when we all get our channels cranked up.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Totally agree.
All
right, Mr. Disabled Vet.
Talking to you, man.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. And that was a great disabled vet's perspective. Yeah, just everybody and everybody who'll be watching the show later, make sure you sub over to his site. Really nice guy. Yeah, we tried doing the panel with him last night, but he was having weather issues, and I totally understand internet issues. I mean, just to get this up and going, and where I live, it's like Nightmare on Elm Street. It's like sometimes it's kind of crazy, but hey, the phone lines are open, or if you want to appear on a video call side by side. Just send me an email, put in the chat that you sent me an email, and I'll keep an eye out for it. And then I can send you a link, and you can go on side by side. So, yeah, not a problem. But let's see. Oh, yeah, I was covering this one story here. And Senator Warren already calling for the impeachment of President Trump. Based on what? I have no idea. Just that, he's an awful guy. Basically what she says. He's a terrible guy. But, the funny thing is, and I brought this up last night, they say, well, he wanted to. Well, he really didn't want to impede the investigation into him. What he wanted, he knew that this whole dossier story, that he was a Russian agent, he knew. 100%. It was total bullshit. And worse, he knew the guys who were chasing after him, they knew it was bullshit. Okay? So he knew these guys were just trying to hurt him. So of course he's like saying, hey, get rid of this guy, get rid of that guy. Because he knows the whole thing's full of shit. Now, if he was guilty and then he was trying to stop these guys, well, that's one thing. Yeah, then he's trying to obstruct, getting in trouble. But, after 500 search warrants, 50 wiretaps, 500 witness interviews, 2,800 subpoenas for documents, 40 FBI agents full-time, 19 prosecutors, 2 years, $30 million, and they couldn't find any conspiracy between him and the Russians or anybody on his campaign. Anybody. Corsi, Caputo, Papadopoulos, Manafort, anybody. Nobody. Nothing. So he knew it was crap. He knew it was crap. And I think he even told Comey at the beginning, he says, hey, if you find somebody who's been doing some shit like this, you let me know. Because, and of course when he's telling Comey, I don't know anything about it. The problem is when you tell a cop that, it's like, a criminal defendant always says, it wasn't me, it's somebody else's stuff. I was someplace else. I mean, so a cop hearing that is like, well, I don't know. So I'm sure it wasn't very convincing. But the funny thing is, looking back on it, Comey's probably like, shit, this guy really didn't do anything. He was really telling me the truth. It's like, oh my God. But I hope he feels bad, for thinking like the guy was a Russian agent, in the Kremlin, the deep state of the Kremlin, and him and Putin are meeting, and Putin says, I have this video of you with these hookers. And Trump goes, no, what should I do? And this is like, 20 years ago. And he goes, okay, you're going to work your way into politics. And Trump's like, huh? And he goes, yes. And then someday you're going to be president. He goes, huh? And then you'll be taking orders from us. And he goes, huh? He goes, man, I'll never be president. He goes, yes, don't worry. I'll find some emails on your opponent, and I'll leak them. And we'll do this whole master plan. And then you'll win. Yeah, that really happened. I mean, that's how crazy the story is. That is what they said they thought happened, basically. Except for maybe, no, they probably even thought the laughter too. Like the ha 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 ha. I'm sure they thought that too. But none of that happened. And the guy was telling the truth. It's like, as a criminal defense attorney, myself, you'll hear that. Oh, I didn't do it. Right, here we go again. Okay, And then, you're doing the case. And then like, oh shit, this guy really didn't do it. And then that's when the pressure hits. If you're a criminal defense attorney, hardest thing you can do is when you represent somebody who's actually innocent. Why? Because if he gets found guilty, it's all on you. You screwed up. Because he was innocent. I mean, he was really innocent. And he still got convicted. Now, if he's guilty and he gets convicted, it's like, well, did you do the best you could? Did you fight as hard as you could? Did you research? Did you work it? Did you hit it? Yeah. You just couldn't get him over the finish line. Okay? So be it. But if the guy's innocent, nah, it's all on you. So you got to like really work your ass off. It's like, oh shit, this guy's innocent. There's no way I can lose this. I'm gonna be feeling shit like forever. This innocent guy sitting in prison. So, but the same thing with Trump. Trump saying, "Well, I didn't do it," and they're like, "Well, okay, yeah." A cop. How many times did Comey hear that before from guys he was investigating? Gazillions. But I hope he feels bad now. You got to call the guy up and say, "Hey, President, sorry, man. I feel bad that I thought you did this." But the point is, Comey knew he didn't. Okay, Comey knew this story was bullshit. These guys are all super intelligent. Strzok, Comey. Strzok was one of the top counter-intel guys in the country, maybe in the world. I mean, he was like the top counter-intel guy in the FBI, which has like the best counter-intel, group in the world. It's like that movie with, oh God, what's his name? Jamie Foxx. Like those guys. That's Strzok. He's like, big shit. And so he knew this was bullshit. He knew that dossier was bullshit. But he was going to go after him anyway because he hated Trump supporters. Like I said, I was down in West Virginia at a Walmart, and it was all full of Trump supporters, and these people smelled really bad. He hated Trump. He hated what he stood for. He hated the people who supported him, and he just wanted them gone. Even though he knew the whole story. Remember, one of the texts that he sent to Lisa right before he went to work for Mueller was he said, well, look, there's no there. Okay, meaning that we got nothing. There ain't nothing here. But he was going to go forward with it anyway. And he pushed to get on the Mueller team. And he convinced Mueller, he said, hey, I'm one of the top-notch guys in the world. And Mueller goes, yeah, I know you. You're one of the top-notch guys in the world. And he goes, can I join your team? Mueller's like, hey, man, great. Yeah, come on board. You've been working the case. Fantastic. Come on over. And then Mueller finds those text messages. And Mueller's like, probably went through the roof. Literally. I mean, they haven't really said he did. And they said, oh, he fired Strzok for something else. But trust me, when he found those text messages, oh my God. Can you imagine Mueller? Oh, he must have been livid. Like, what the shit? What are you trying to do to me? And they fired him, and he fired Page. Bam. Right there. Got him off the team. So, I mean, these are really smart guys. They knew the story was bullshit, but they gave him a hook to screw with the president and maybe get him out of office. And all the talk with the 25th Amendment, they're going to wear a wire, I mean, come on. These are bureaucrats, unelected, and they're talking about undoing an election. And they knew and remember, they weren't doing it because they thought the election was rigged. Okay? They knew it wasn't. They knew the election that he had won fairly, that he was elected by the American people. Electoral College popular vote, BS. Again, if it was a popular vote race, Trump would have been campaigning in the big cities. Now, if Hillary Clinton wanted to waste time in California, in New York City, just to run up the numbers, but not run up the electoral votes, well, that's why she lost. Okay? That's how Obama beat her in 2008 in the primaries. She was going for the big population areas. Meanwhile, remember, I was watching that race really closely. Obama's going to all these little states. He went to Idaho. There was only I think 14,000, 14,000 registered Democratic primary voters. He went to an arena, to a stadium. He had 13,000 people there. They said, well, shit, we could have just had the vote today. Well, she stayed away from the states, just she wasn't thinking delegate counts, just like she wasn't thinking electoral vote counts. And that's how Obama ran the numbers up on her. He kind of slowly crept up on her, and then suddenly he overtook her. It was and she's like, whoa, how did that happen? Well, they had no team. See, Obama ran a 50-state strategy, okay, the same one that Michael Steele ran for us, the Republicans, in 2010, and how we took the House and the Senate. Okay, same thing. And so if you want to win a presidential race, you got to run a 50-state strategy. Now, if it's a popular vote, fine. You act like Clinton, and you go to the big population centers, you give speeches, you waste time and money and resources and staff going up to votes that don't mean anything, except that you say you had more popular vote votes. But if it was a popular vote election, Trump would have gone to those places too. And again, Republicans in blue states who normally don't go out to vote, they would have been coming out to vote. He probably would have won the popular vote. So these guys, as the FBI, these super smart guys, the CIA, the intelligence agencies, they knew Trump won the election fair and square. So they weren't trying to protect the country from a rigged election. They were trying to protect the country from an obnoxious guy with obnoxious, deplorable voters. Okay? That's what they were trying to do. They're the elitists, highly educated, sophisticated, and they think they know what's best for us. These guys have been around forever, since this country started. They think they know better than we do. And what they sought to do was to get rid of this guy. And they didn't care who took over, as long as it wasn't him. Okay? And that's what that was about. And those guys, they committed treason. They're traitors. Okay? They should all be in prison. All of them. Strzok, Comey, Page, McCabe, probably Rosenstein, all those guys. They should all be in prison. So, anyway, call-in number is 775-273-8970. Got a phone call coming in. Hello, Paula B.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Did I call on the wrong number?
No, you called. I think you called. You called 273-8970. Did you call my cell?
Yeah.
Oh, you called 273? Yeah, that's the right number. Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
So what's up, young lady?
All right. Not much. How about you?
Just hanging out. Got the weekend ahead. Probably got to work on Sunday. Yeah, probably got to work on Sunday, but tomorrow I'm taking the day off.
Oh, okay, well, good. I just wanted to talk about the things that are going on while we're all distracted by some of these things that they're doing, and all the people are, just things that are happening, like the red flag laws and all this kind of stuff. What are your opinions on those?
Well, yeah, we were talking a little bit about that last night, and the red flag laws are really scary because the way some states work them, the way California works it, is that, okay, a neighbor, the cops, ex-wife, ex-husband, ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, whoever, says, hey, that guy's really acting strange, I think he's crazy, and he's got all these firearms. The cops come in, take your guns, and then they give you a court date, and you got to come back in 2 weeks. Now, the way it works in California, because I read this law, is that the burden now shifts to you. You have to show up for an order to show cause, and you have to show cause that you're not crazy and that you have the right to own a gun. So it's your burden of proof, which means you have to go hire a psychiatrist to prove. I mean, how else do you prove you're not crazy? You can't walk and say I'm not crazy. That's not proof. So you got to hire a psychiatrist. He has to do a psychiatric exam on you, give you all those tests. So one, you got to find one that can move quick. Two, they're expensive, and three, the expensive part is getting that guy to show up to court to testify. Because that's hearsay. You can't just submit his report. He's not subject to cross-examination. So, and now I've dealt with expert witnesses in litigation, civil litigation cases, even in criminal cases. Private cases. It costs like $2,500 to $5,000 to get a guy to show up to court. Okay.
Oh my God.
Now, if the judge will just accept the report, and I guess the DA's office doesn't object, I guess you're okay. Or if you show up with the report, and then the DA says, well, we want to have our own independent medical exam, the judge says, yeah, good idea. Well, then they'll continue it for like 60 days. Meanwhile, you don't have your guns. Then you have to go subject yourself to another exam. They pay for it, don't get me wrong, but you still got to go. Now, here's the problem. I don't see that if the judge says, okay, I'll allow this report, then you get your IME, and then he brings in another report, I can't see how the judge says, oh, I can make a decision based on these two reports. No. You're going to need testimony. Okay. And then the state's got to pay for their guy, and then but you got to pay for your guy. Okay. And then trying to coordinate the calendars to make sure everybody can be there. 2 different doctors, 2 different experts. You're talking another 90, 120 days to get that worked out. So in the meantime, 6 months later, you still don't have your guns. And then if you prove you're not crazy, you get any of that money back? Nope. Nothing.
Oh my God.
You don't even get an apology.
Well, is that how they're all? I mean, is that how they're all doing it, or are they each doing their own different thing?
I don't know. That I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, my guess is they'd probably want to be looking at the California model to see how they do it. So that could be the way they're doing it. I don't know though.
I don't know why we would look at California for anything right now.
Yeah, I mean, I know why look there for anything. I agree. Well, if you're into gun control or gun confiscation, and you want to get rid of all guns, which is what they want to do. I mean, they want to get rid of all guns. Then yeah, you look at California.
Reach around.
Excuse me?
Oh, I said this is their reach around from that whole where they were trying to take the guns, and it didn't go quite the way they wanted. So now they're coming in the back way.
Yeah. Okay.
Trying to get them a different way.
Right. An interesting way to put it. Yeah, I gotcha. But yeah, it's really dangerous. People need to be paying attention to it, and it's the kind of thing that state legislatures will try to pass real quietly. But hopefully, look, we have some lobbying groups out there like the NRA, but and hopefully they're staying on top of this, and they're like putting out, media spots in the jurisdictions where this is occurring, to wake people up to what's actually happening, Well,
I just learned that Indiana had passed. I didn't even know.
Indiana passed one?
Yeah.
Wow, Indiana. That's crazy.
I was surprised.
I'm surprised too. Jeez.
Indiana's a pretty red state. I mean,
yeah,
or has been.
Yeah.
So now I'm a little concerned.
Probably should be. Yeah, because I mean,
yeah.
Well, you got like South Bend. That's where Buttigieg's from, and he's about as left. When we talked about the other night, he's about as left as you can get. He wants to abolish the Electoral College. He's for the Green New Deal. He's against he's against the wall, or he's in favor of open borders, pretty much. I mean, he's as far left as you can get. So, but I mean and he's from South Bend. They elected him.
My whole viewpoint on that is, everybody's wanting to look at the UK or Europe and say, oh, well, look how it's worked for them, but it's not working for them. And I said in a tweet earlier, I said, I thought we fought a war to get away from them and away from their ideologies. Why are we bothering to look to them now? I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, I agree. But, I mean, unfortunately, you got some people out there who are really buying into this stuff. And they're dead set on it. They think guns are like, evil. and people who own guns like us are evil, and the guns need to go, or we need to go. And they know they got to get rid of the guns first before they get rid of us. So, guns first.
Well, when the Covington kids thing, when it came out, before everybody knew the truth, like the very first day, and somebody on Twitter said, "Oh, it's just a hat, right?" And I tweeted back at him. I said, "Yeah, it is just a hat. When's the last time your hat walked out the door and did anything?"
That's pretty good.
On its own.
Well, yeah, it's like
they never said anything back. I was like, "Well, yeah. I mean, what you said was stupid."
Right.
Yeah, it is just a hat. And just like guns, it is just a gun. I've never seen a gun get up off a table and go shoot somebody.
I saw a cartoon, and this guy had his like AR-15 on the ground, and he goes, "Okay, I'm going out for the day. Don't do anything." It's like I'll be back. If I hear you did anything, you're gonna be in trouble. And the gun's just laying there, not talking back to him or anything. Not a talking gun.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty good along those same lines. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the whole idea, though. It's like, and most of the people that are committing crimes are not using legal guns anyway. So more gun laws isn't protecting anybody,
right?
Except the criminals.
Look, okay, how many billions of dollars of drugs come across that border every year? Okay, you don't think it would be just as easy to bring those guns across that border? Okay, say you ban guns in the United States. Okay, you don't think it would be just as easy to bring guns across? Yeah, maybe a little heavier, but you can bring some really light guns. You can bring some really light guns across.
Hey.
You get some small guns, 9mm, 40 cal, even little bitty 45s. You can break these things down. Trust me, where there's a will, there's a way. Again, we have all this.
Well,
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, they're bringing people over. And
heavier than hello. They're a little bit bigger than a gun,
Yeah.
So I mean, if you banned all guns, trust me, it'll be like prohibition. They'll be coming across, and the only people who aren't going to have them are going to be people who are afraid to break the law, law-abiding people. But people who are not law-abiding by their very nature, they're criminals. They'll have no problem buying illegal guns, and that demand will fuel supply. And here come all the guns from China, Russia, Southeast Asia, Africa, you name it. Be coming across both borders, Canada and Mexico. And by boat, plane, whatever. Okay? So only the bad guys are going to have them. And the price isn't going to be too high. It's not like, price will go up. No, it won't. No. It'll be mass distribution. They'll keep the price down. These guys are good. These guys are good capitalists. They know how to sell product. They know how to market it, and they know how to sell it. And trust me, it'll be the same guys bringing the drugs in, and the same guys selling the drugs, be the same guys selling the guns and bringing the guns in. Okay, so it's something stupid. So unless you make the manufacture of guns around the world illegal, I'm sorry, they're coming in. Okay, and then only people like us maybe won't own any because we don't want to break the law. Because they'll come after us, put us in prison. But these criminals who go in and out of prison every other month, every year, whatever, they don't care. So, okay, you caught me with a gun while I was robbing somebody. Well, you were robbing somebody. You're going to prison,
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
No, they don't care. What's the difference? No. The only difference is that if somebody comes in your house and they've been working out in the prison yard, 3 hours a day, and they're wide awake on meth, and you're coming out of sleep, and you don't work out 3 hours a day and practice karate another 3 hours a day, he comes at you with a bat, and you grab your bat, you lose. Now, he comes at you with a gun, you come at him with a gun, maybe you win. At least you got a chance. God made all men, Sam Colt made them all equal. There.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
All right, well, that's all I really wanted to talk about.
Well, very good, Miss Paula. And next time we do a panel, we'll definitely shoot you out an email.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. I shot you one. I think you responded. I think you said you were busy or something, or I can't remember.
I responded late. I didn't see it until today.
Oh, that's right.
And
Yeah, I
then I
saw it today.
responded
Okay.
today. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
But I
That'll
thought
work.
I was like, next one I'll get it.
You got it, young lady. All righty. Well, thank you, Miss
All
Paula.
right.
Have a great night. See you down in the chat.
All right, absolutely. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. And see what we got. Now, let's see. Let me write this. CLC here. At CL. You want to do a video call. Yeah, just sent CLC in Florida. Thing I saw her earlier. She had written that she had sent me an email, and I know it's in there, but I didn't know if that meant she wanted to do a video call or not. So. Let's see. You want to do a video call. But anyway, so let's see. Let's get to the next story here. Well, actually, we were just getting on this story. Let's see. All right, let me get back to this one. Good night, Laylo. Oh, good night, Laylo. Laylo, good night. Good night, Laylo. Excellent call. Paula, these points need to be brought to find there's such a serious infringement. Okay. All right, so back to Elizabeth Warren wants to begin Trump impeachment. Of course, Ocasio-Cortez chimed in on this for stupid reasons. But anyway, here's Warren. Warren on Friday became the first major 2020 Democratic presidential candidate to urge her party to begin impeachment proceedings against President Trump in the wake of the special counsel's newly released report. Ms. Warren took to Twitter to announce her support for impeachment, saying the special counsel's findings show a president unfit for office. Again, I don't know how she got that. The severity of this misconduct demands that elected officials in both parties set aside political considerations and do their constitutional duty. That means the House should initiate impeachment proceedings against the President of the United States, she said. Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report, released in slightly redacted form Thursday morning, says there's no evidence the President and his team conspired with Russia to subvert the 2016 election. That undercuts a major narrative Democrats have used to question Mr. Trump's legitimacy. But Mr. Mueller said the President did take action to try to hinder the probe into Russian election meddling. The special counsel did not recommend charges, but said he could not exonerate the President. Again, that's not his job. One reason he didn't recommend charges was to leave the Congress the option of impeachment. But Mr. Mueller said the President, in the days since reports released, the calls for impeachment have grown loud among Democrats. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Gerald Nadler, idiot. Ocasio-Cortez, idiot. Miss Warren, idiot. Okay. She goes on to say, to ignore a president's repeated efforts to obstruct an investigation into his own efforts, though. Remember, though, repeated efforts. He never did anything to stop anything from going forward. Okay, again, somebody walks in my office, says, hey, Carl, I want to kill somebody. What do you think? And I say, no, don't do it. And they don't do it. He didn't commit a crime. Okay? That's how it works. All right. Let's see. Given the GOP's control of the Senate and Republicans' different take on the Mr. Mueller's finding, it's unlikely impeachment could succeed. Tom Steyer, the idiot, the billionaire who has spearheaded an effort to impeach Trump, applauded Ms. Warren, saying she is showing the moral courage to do what's right. Okay, so you show moral courage if you back this guy. 8 million Americans are thanking her for her leadership and for taking a strong stand against this dangerous president, Mr. Steyer said. Oh, jeez. This is a guy who made a lot of money and feels guilty about it. Been trying to undo that guilt for the last, probably 3-4 years. But, yeah, I'm not impressed. So, anyway, let's see. Let me get back over here. Boom. Hey, it's me. Let me find another story here real quick. Here's a good story. We were talking about Buttigieg. Here's a good story on that. Let me get to that. Also from the Washington Times. So let's go pull this one up. Boom, boom, boom. Yay. Pete Buttigieg. Just another, this is from the editorial section of the Washington Times. This is a commentary. Pete Buttigieg, just another climate alarmist extraordinaire. So let's get to this story. Mayor Pete. Like he wants everybody to call him Mayor Pete or Pete 2020 because nobody can pronounce his last name. Mayor Pete, as Pete Buttigieg, the Democratic presidential hopeful from the city of South Bend, Indiana, has been affectionately dubbed by his following the media. Called out climate change as the greatest security issue of our time. I want to think about that. Think how crazy and stupid that is. During his recent announcement speech, and he goes on to say, and if we don't fix it, we all die. He's yet the latest from the left to use climate change for political advantage by claiming the same. We've got Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez giving us a 12-year countdown to doom and gloom and death if we don't do something quick. That's not hyperbole. The freshman legislature actually said it. Millennials and people, Gen Z, and all these folks that will come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how we're going to pay for it. This is the war. This is our World War II. That was according to Cortez. Washington Governor and presidential hopeful Jay Inslee, not to be outdone, called on the country to attack climate change as a means of helping many climate refugees who are busily pouring across America's borders. In other words, the weather is driving people from other countries to flee, and it's America's job to open borders to help them. God. Now comes Mayor Pete. We quote, we must pick up our heads to face what might be the greatest security issue of our time, climate change and climate disruption, he said. Our economy is on the line, and our future is on the line. Lives are on the line. So let's call this what it is. Climate security, a life and death issue for our generation. Yeah, I got a kick out of that. I was talking about that the other night because he was talking about what South Bend, Indiana was like before the this auto plant closed down in 1963, and how much wealth was created and how great it was, what a great place it was. And then like the plant shut down, another plant shut down, and the place became kind of dilapidated. And he was standing in this hall, I guess, announcement. He says, "Wow, this was created around that time, and think of how great it was to build this then." And then the city went to disrepair, and a lot of jobs left. And then he starts talking about Trump when Trump says, make America great again. And then he says this, literally within 15 minutes. He goes, well, America wasn't really that great as it was advertised to be anyway. So on one hand he's saying how great it was, and then on the other hand he's saying it wasn't. So, I mean, the guy is just, let's see. Oh, we don't take any unknown phone calls. Just let you know. If you want to call, you cannot call on a blocked number. So, there you go. So, there are no unknown person phone calls. So, you want to call in? You got to at least have an area code behind your name. Put an area code behind your name, call in. Not a problem. But the phone lines are open, 775-273-8970. Or if you want to appear on a vMix video call, a bunch of people have done it already. Not tonight, but like whole bunches of people. Very simple. You can ask anybody in the chat. You send me an email. I reply back to your email with a link. You either push on the link on your phone, or you click on it on your laptop or desktop. Your camera comes up. You see me. I see you. I put you on YouTube. We talk. Ta-da! It's that simple. I mean, it really is literally that simple. Ask Paula. She'll tell you. It's like, ask Effie. She'll tell you. It's really that simple. Not hard to do at all. So. But let's see here. See if I want to cover any other stories. Let me get back to this in here. Hold on. Boom. Here's a gross story. Yeah. Oh, we were talking about this the other night with what's her name? Forbidden information. Although I don't think we didn't cover this story. This is a new story. Yeah, this came. Oh no, this came out. This came out a long time ago. But anyway, here's an old story. Planned Parenthood. Okay, this is from August of 2015. Okay, Planned Parenthood kept babies. Hold on, let me get on here. Let me cut it over here so you can see it. It might help if I do that, huh? That way you can actually see the story. All right, there we go. Planned Parenthood kept aborted babies alive to harvest organs, ex-technician says. So let's cover this. The story is written by Cheryl Wetstein of the Washington Times, August 19, 2015. In an undercover video released Wednesday, former technician for a tissue harvesting company detailed how an aborted baby was kept alive so that its heart could be harvested at a California Planned Parenthood facility, raising more legal questions about the group's practices. Holly O'Donnell, a former blood and tissue procurement technician for the biotech startup STEM Express, also said she was asked to harvest an intact brain from the late-term male fetus whose heart was still beating after the abortion. Okay, you got a baby on the table with a heartbeat after an abortion. That baby's alive. You kill it then, that's murder. Okay? That's murder. Pure and simple. I don't know why nobody was prosecuted for this back in 15. I mean, you cannot argue that baby is alive. It's sitting out there with a heartbeat. Okay? A STEM Express supervisor gave me the scissors and told me that I had to cut down the middle of the face. Oh, Jesus. And I can't even describe what that feels like, said Miss O'Donnell, who had been featured in earlier videos by the Center for Medical Progress, a pro-life group. Let's see. A pro-life group that previously had released 6 undercover clips involving Planned Parenthood personnel in practice. I thought we had a phone call there. Did you see Ann Coulter on firing line? No, I missed that. I heard she was suggesting vote for Bernie. In my jammies now. Let's see, super easy. Okay. Okay, let's see here. All right, so let me finish this. Hold on here. David Dallidan, the video project leader, said the undercover footage and interviews show that fetuses are sometimes delivered intact and alive before their organs are harvested. The federal... got a call coming in. Just want you, please hold on. Hey everybody, just stand by while we work out some technical issues with the panel and the caller. We'll be right back. This is Carl from Carl's Opinion, and thank you guys for joining the show tonight, and we'll be right back. Again, this is Carl from Carl's Opinions. Please stand by while we work up some technical issues with the caller and the panel. We'll be right back. I hope you guys are enjoying the show, and we'll get back with more Trump 2020, and good luck, President Trump. Yay. Let's not get complacent, people. Get out there and start working. Start working now. 2020 is right around the corner. This is Carl from Carl's Opinion. Please stand by while we work out some technical issues with the caller and the panel. We'll be right back. Thank you. Hey everybody, just stand by while we work out some technical issues with the panel and the caller. We'll be right back. This is Carl from Carl's Opinion, and thank you guys for joining the show tonight, and we'll be right back. Again, this is Carl from Carl's Opinions. Please stand by while we work up some technical issues with the caller and the panel. We'll be right back. I hope you guys are enjoying the show, and we'll get back with more Trump 2020, and good luck, President Trump. Yay. Let's not get complacent, people. Get out there and start working. Start working now. 2020 is right around the corner. This is Carl from Carl's Opinion. Please stand by while we work out some technical issues with the caller and the panel. We'll be right back. Thank you. Hey everybody, just stand by while we work out some technical issues with the panel and the caller. We'll be right back. This is Carl from Carl's Opinion, and thank you guys for joining the show tonight, and we'll be right back. Again, this is Carl from Carl's Opinions. Please stand by while we work up some technical issues with the caller and the panel. We'll be right back. I hope you guys are enjoying the show, and we'll get back with more Trump 2020, and good luck, President Trump. Yay. Let's not get complacent, people. Get out there and start working. Start working now. 2020 is right around the corner. This is Carl from Carl's Opinion. Please stand by while we work out some technical issues with the caller and the panel. We'll be right back. Thank you. Hey everybody, just stand by while we work out some technical issues with the panel and the caller. We'll be right back. This is Carl from Carl's Opinion, and thank you guys for joining the show tonight, and we'll be right back. Again, this is Carl from Carl's Opinions. Please stand by while we work up some technical issues with the caller and the panel. We'll be right back. I hope you guys are enjoying the show, and we'll get back with more Trump 2020, and good luck, President Trump. Yay. Let's not get complacent, people. Get out there and start working. Start working now. 2020 is right around the corner. This is Carl from Carl's Opinion. Please stand by while we work out some technical issues with the caller and the panel. We'll be right back. Thank you. Hey everybody, we had some technical issues with that last caller. To wit, he's gone. But yeah, we don't try to let any people like that get on YouTube. So yeah, we had a little technical issue. To wit, we talked to him and we didn't want to put him on. So there you go. Anyway, so we're back on, and we were talking about. Hold on, let's see what we got here going with the audio. Make sure it's still good to go here. Let's see. All right, so we should still be going up. Let me see here. Yep. Okay. Make sure. Let me double check something. Yep. Still going good there. Still going good there. Still going good there. Oh, here we are. That's it. All right. Now we're doing much better. There you go. All right. So we were talking about this abortion thing. So let's continue on with this story. Okay. So let's get back to it, and let's see. All right. David Daly, then, the video project leader, said the undercover footage and interviews show that fetuses are sometimes delivered intact and alive before their organs are harvested. The federal Born Alive Infants Protection Act of 2002 says that when a child is born alive, including having a beating heart, he or she is a legal person and has a right to life-saving medical care. Yeah. Okay. California law also prohibits any kind of experimentation on a fetus with a discernible heartbeat, said the Center for Medical Progress, which is calling for the federal government to cease its $500 million a year support to Planned Parenthood and for it to be investigated. Today's video is especially gruesome, and it shows once again the barbarity of what takes place at Planned Parenthood clinics across the country, said Representative Joseph Pitts, Pennsylvania Republican and chairman of the House Energy and Commerce Subcommittee on Health, one of several congressional panels investigating Planned Parenthood. Representative Jason Chaffetz, who you now see on Fox News, a Utah Republican, again this story was written 4 years ago, and chairman of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, said Wednesday that all the videos are disturbing and his committee's investigation will look into whether any federal funding supported transactions involving fetal tissue. Top-level employees of Planned Parenthood admit to changing their procedures to harvest intact bodies of unborn children for body part trafficking, said Representative Trent Franks, an Arizona Republican and chairman of the House Judiciary Committee on the Constitution and Civil Justice. Mr. Franks and House Judiciary Committee Chairman Bob Goodlatte from Virginia also said Wednesday they have written to 58 Planned Parenthood affiliates. They are seeking 10 years of data about all abortions, and 10 years of data about all abortions, late-term abortions, born-alive infants, fetal tissue collections, and any modifications of abortion techniques to increase the odds of preserving intact tissues and organs. 5 states, Louisiana, Alabama, Arkansas, Utah, and New Hampshire, already have defunded Planned Parenthood, but a lot of those states since, I think, U.S. District Court's reversed. A request for comment from Planned Parenthood Federation of America about the new video was not immediately available, but the nonprofit organization has denounced earlier undercover videos as fraudulent and misleading. These extremists show a total lack of compassion and dignity for women's most personal medical decisions, Dawn Langwins, Executive Vice President of Planned Parenthood, said earlier this month after a video release. Meanwhile, pro-life groups are using the videos to step up their calls for investigations and defunding of Planned Parenthood. Rallies and protests of nearly 300 Planned Parenthood clinics are planned for Saturday. So yeah, I mean, it's like, geez, like pretty gross. So I mean, it's like crazy. I mean, I remember that story when it came out, and of course, it didn't get a lot of coverage because the mainstream media didn't want to cover it. So, and it didn't get much coverage. But stories like that. I mean, the idea that they have a live baby there. I mean, there's no doubt the baby's alive. Okay, and the baby's alive. I mean, there's a baby there. They do the abortion. They actually deliver the baby. It sounds like intact. It's got a heartbeat. And they say, okay, now cut the baby's face open with a knife. While the baby's alive, the heart is beating, and the baby's probably crying his ass off in pain because you're torturing it to death. But that's okay. That's the mindset. That's the way these people think. It's a real shame. But hey, the phone lines are open. If anybody wants me to call them, in fact, that's even easier. So, like, if anybody in the chat says, "Hey, Carl, call me," then I probably have your number, so I can give you a call. You can do that too. Or again, you can appear on video call, whatever you want to do. So it's up to you. But let's see here. Let's see. Alrighty. And let's see. Let's cover any other stories here. What time is it? Well, it's about 10 o'clock. I've been on for 2 hours. Let me see if I can find. There's one more story I saw, and I can't remember where the hell I saw it, so now I got to go find it. So give me a second. Let me see if I can locate this story for you guys real quick, and we'll see if we can find it. It's out of the Wall Street Journal. All right, so here we go. Let me pull this one up for you guys. It's editorial again. This is from the Wall Street Journal this time. So let's get on this. All right. So here we go. Bill Barr. Let me pull the headlines so you can see it. There we go. Targeting Bill Barr. Unlike Loretta Lynch, the AG does his duty on a prosecutorial judgment. Pivoting, let's see, make sure it looks good. Yep, looks good. Pivoting from their failed Russia-Trump collusion narrative, Democrats in the press corps have discovered a new political villain, William Barr. They claim the Attorney General is misleading the public, but their real goal is to warn Mr. Barr from following through on his promise to investigate abuses by the FBI and Obama administration officials. The rap is that Mr. Barr didn't tell the truth about Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report when he summarized his conclusions in late March. It's a disgrace to see an Attorney General acting as if he's a personal attorney and publicist for the President of the United States, tweeted presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren in a typical broadside. Mr. Barr was trying to satisfy the Democratic demand to see the report as soon as possible while he vetted the details for material that he had to be redacted for some legal and intelligence reasons. His 4-page summary fairly characterized his conclusions on collusion and obstruction while promising the full report soon. He even quoted Mr. Mueller's line that the report does not exonerate Mr. Trump. A summary couldn't contain the details Mr. Mueller took 488 pages to describe, and now those details are public, warts and all. In other words, he said, look, okay, I know you guys want this fast. Okay, Mueller turned it in Friday. I know you guys want to see something, and if I don't get it to you Monday, it's going to be like, hi, holy hell. You'll be, oh, he's trying to hide it from us and all this shit. He goes, okay, fine. I'm going to get you a summary, but I'm not going to put everything in it because it's a summary. Okay, I got 488 pages. I'm going to write a little summary, get it out to the public, send it to you. That way everybody can at least see the gist of this report. Okay, so sure enough, he does. Now they say, oh, he didn't put these other two sentences in. Well, he said in there, in the initial summary, that Mueller was not exonerating Trump. I mean, that's pretty good for the Democrats and not so good for President Trump, and he put it in there. But no, they said, oh, he didn't put the other two sentences in there. Well, you got it 3 weeks later. Jesus, the world wasn't going to end in those 3 weeks. It's like, oh, well, we could have got rid of him 3 weeks ago. Well, really? You're not going to get rid of him now. So you waited 3 weeks, okay, and now you got the full report. Now you can bitch and moan all you want. But, like, for 2 years, you've been bitching and moaning, and we've been having to take it and listen to this crap, and you have to wait a whole 3 weeks. We have to wait 2 years for our president to be cleared of any wrongdoing, and you can't wait 3 lousy weeks. I mean, that was the biggest joke about the whole thing. So anyway, they got the full report. So anyway, so Democrats also want Mr. Barr to take a vow of silence. So they're the only people who can explain what the Mueller report means. Right. In other words, we don't want you to talk to the president. We didn't want you showing it to his attorneys ahead of time. Well, they're entitled to see it because anybody who's mentioned the report is entitled to see it. Okay? Especially someone who's subject to the investigation. But Mr. Mueller works for Mr. Barr, who had no legal obligation to release any of the report to Congress. He made a prudent judgment in the public interest to do so, as he promised during his Senate confirmation hearings, especially since Mr. Mueller abdicated on making any prosecutorial judgment about obstruction. Mr. Barr also had a duty to provide his own judgment on the law. Well, yeah, if the special counsel says, well, I'm going to punt, basically he pussied out, okay? I mean, he could have made a decision, okay, I have enough to indict, or I did not have enough to indict. Okay, instead of saying, well, I'm not saying he did anything, but I'm also not exonerating. First of all, I don't even know what that means. Okay, in a legal point of view, that's like stupid talk. Okay, like the guy suffering some kind of senility or something. Like he's got the early onset of Alzheimer's disease. I mean, his job wasn't to exonerate anybody. His job was to get to the bottom of something, and his special counsel determined whether any criminal activity. He says, I don't have enough evidence to prosecute, means you deny prosecution. Could have said that. We denied prosecution, we didn't have enough evidence. Okay. But I couldn't exonerate him. Oh, like as if Mueller was, all these 19 attorneys were out there beating the bushes, turning over rocks to try to exonerate the president. Of course they weren't. That wasn't, you kidding? Mueller was like great friends with Jim, is still good friends with Jim Comey. Okay, they know each other for decades. Mueller was pissed off. He fired his friend, and he wouldn't give Mueller the job. So, I mean, they weren't trying to exonerate him. They made it sound like over 2 years we've been trying to exonerate the president. No, they weren't. They're trying to find a crime that he committed so they can say, look, he broke the law. He committed a crime. Take him away, Dano. Book him. Book him, Dano. Like in Hawaii 5-0. So anyway, Mr. Barr has also been attacked for making redactions. And House Democrats said Friday they'll subpoena the unredacted version and all background material. Yet Mr. Barr says senior members of Congress will be able to see all redacted material except for what is legally protected by grand jury secrecy. Barr would have to petition a judge who supervised the grand jury to release such testimony, which is secret under the law, to ensure people speak honestly and to protect the innocent. Mr. Barr resists the subpoenas. Congress is likely to lose the legal fight. Exactly. Congress has an interest in the report as part of its oversight duties, but the executive branch also has an interest in protecting the integrity of judicial proceedings. Congress will be able to see everything in the report except grand jury material. Under the Supreme Court's balancing test and the Nixon tapes, Mr. Barr is on strong legal ground. The larger Democratic concern is that Mr. Barr is serious about looking into the origins of the FBI surveillance of the Trump campaign in 2016. Yeah, right. Yeah, Democrats go, oh, what do you want to look there for? Nothing to see there. That was 3 years ago. What do you want to look at that for? This could mean turning over such rocks as the FBI Clinton media collaboration over the discredited Steele dossier, or whether officials misled the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, seeking a warrant to eavesdrop on Trump advisor Carter Page. The Mueller report barely mentions the Steele dossier, which suggests the special counsel could not corroborate its allegations. Okay, the thing again, it wasn't just spying on Carter Page. Remember, like, even when Obama was talking about when that guy leaked all this stuff, how the NSA was spying on all of us, was listening to all our phone calls, and he said, okay, remember, I've instructed them to only go like 3 or 4 steps away, meaning, okay, Carter Page speaks to John Smith, that's 1 step. John speaks to, Fred Lewis, that's 2 steps. Fred Lewis speaks to, Paul Manafort, that's 3 steps. Paul Manafort speaks to Trump. Well, there's your 4 steps. Now, we don't know on this foreign surveillance warrant how many steps they went. We don't know if it was unlimited. It could have been 10 steps. And I guarantee you, out of all the people Carter Page talked to, and all the people they talked to, and all the people they talked to, somebody talked to President Trump, which got them the hook to get to President Trump to listen to his phone calls. Okay? And that was during an election campaign. Okay? Right near the end. I mean, it was neck and neck, going down the wire. Well, actually, they all thought she was going to win by a landslide. But still, it was neck and neck. So anyway, the Justice Department Inspector General is expected to issue a report on much of this in the coming months, and criminal referrals can't be ruled out. Several criminal referrals have already come from Congress, and prosecutions with no doubt require Mr. Barr's assent. And Democrats are sending a message that he'll pay a political price if he doesn't call the whole thing off. And he's learning. He's learning in the second turn as AG. As he's learning in the second turn as AG, Mr. Barr will be hammered no matter what he decides. The good news is that the country finally appears to have an attorney general who can take the heat. I agree. Yeah, this guy is like, just solid on ethics, I talk to my liberal friends. They say, "Oh, Barr." I go, "Man, Barr is like, it's from the Bush days. Okay, and the Bush family hates Trump. So if anything, Barr is not necessarily Trump's friend. Okay, just isn't. So, but let's see here. Move this up here. There we go. But if anybody wishes to call in, the phone lines are open, 775-273-8970. And nobody's calling in. I'm probably going to go ahead and wrap up this live stream for the night. We've been on about 2 hours or so. I've had a really fun time. Just want to thank all the callers who called in. Paula, TGD, and see who else called in. God, who's my first caller? Oh, a Texas RN, of course. And also Disabled Best Perspective. All 4 phone calls were great tonight. Just want to thank you guys so much. I want to thank everybody in the chat room. I saw some really nice, kind words in there. Appreciate that. Edward Snowden. Thank you. Yes. Yes, Paula. Edward Snowden. Thank you. I always forget that guy's name. I should have watched a movie about him. Then I would remember who he was. But I never watched the movie either. But anyway, so I want to thank everybody who'll be watching later. And if you liked the video, hit the like button on it. And if you like it a lot, feel free to subscribe to my site. Got a half-page newspaper ad running this weekend in local newspaper here. And so any guys that are watching from that ad, hey, feel free to sub. And if I know you, you see me, next time you see me, say, hey, man, what's up? And I'll say, hey, what's up for you? You know it. Anyway, all right, guys. So for Carl's opinion, this is Carl. I want to wish everybody a great night, and thanks everybody again. So anyway, guys, see you next time. We'll probably be doing something tomorrow being Saturday. Like I said, I'm probably working Sunday, but I'm going to take tomorrow off, which means I'll be able to get back on YouTube and do something else. Maybe a panel show, maybe a call-in show. We'll see. We'll just kind of play it by ear. So anyway, guys, have a good one. Good night.